look in the eyes of my brother without shedding a tear for
Did you miss me? I'm back. Guess who's back? Guess who's back? Guess who's back?
That's what you always think of, like a whole bunch of people saying, yo, like, welcome to Atlanta.
Welcome to Atlanta.
They're like, yo.
And honorifics of the genius of hip hop, we want to say rest in peace to the God DMX.
Right.
Yo, that was real sad to hear about. 50 is so young and a heart attack, but his legacy will live on. And I love how Queen Elizabeth's husband also died, and no one gave a fuck. Because everybody's like DMX. And so yeah, man. Rest in peace to DMX. Rest in power, and you will be missed. I used to really love your music when I was younger. And do y'all have any like particularly fond memories of that era?
I remember when we took our class trip to Washington D.C. and New York and stuff. I remember we kept singing "What's My Name."
Uh-huh.
I remember that song like being like
we was remixing all of the
all the little segments. I do.
That was funny.
Remember that, and then I remember like I think he had so many iconic like singles.
Yes,
and they were like pretty huge.
Yes.
They were very him.
Mm-hmm. Between X gonna give it to you, and oh man, because all the songs off my head, but not their titles. What's my name?
Meet me outside.
Oh yeah.
That's the name of the song. No, that's the thing about it. Man. But I always have to shout out
Rough Riders Anthem.
Rough Riders Anthem, absolutely.
Stop. Come on.
Crazy is, I heard that he didn't even want to do that song. Like
but Swiss knew, like
yeah. I love stories like that where like people are like, now you want to do this, and then they do it anyway. And then
you really got to learn to trust your producer.
Yeah.
Sometimes the producer really be knowing, like, no, this is the way to go. And I got to shout out the greatest cover of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer of all time.
I actually played that. It's like going to become like a Christmas.
Oh, it's absolutely a Christmas tradition. I don't even celebrate Christmas, but
I know it's just like I'd rather have DMX anyway. You like do it anyway.
Exactly.
Even though Luther, somebody snapped on that. One of them old school.
I know the Temptations. They have a version.
Oh yeah,
Ray Charles.
Yeah, we used to sing that too back in the day.
The Temptations version is a great version. I just love it. I just love the fact that he still put his own ad libs in it.
Yeah,
forever.
That bass.
Yeah.
Come
on, Rudolph the Red-Nosed. Yeah, man, it's fucking fantastic. Yo, if this is your first time joining us, I know. I want to get that out first. If this is your first time joining us for the InforMILLy Honest podcast. We are usually four brothers. We're missing A-Dub today. And you missed me last week, so life happens. But we come together to have these conversations and join and commune and chop it up over a myriad of subjects that sometimes have to do with, what's going on in the world. And a lot of times it doesn't. And we just have this conversation where we get to, process and challenge each other, laugh, all that great stuff. And by all means, we invite you to join in with us. You can write us at informillyyhonestpodcast@gmail.com, as well as hit up our social medias, InforMILLy Honest everywhere, or InforMILLy_HP on Twitter. And so, yeah, fellas, what I miss?
Well, we had a long discussion. Well, it wasn't even on purpose, but about essentially our principles, being honest, forthright, vulnerable, and honest.
Oh shit.
Because we started with the, how we do it every week. Did anybody have anything to share? Then it just turned into like half the episode ended up being about that. So it was
Oh,
cool
wow.
to focus in
Then
on
we
that. So
we talked about mental health though. That was a
Yeah.
big nice little subject.
yeah.
So did anything happen to you over the course of the week that you feel like you applied any of our principles?
Well, I had to take family pictures or whatever. And
Hit that good old
oh,
remote.
I just did already. I think I already mentioned this.
Oh, you mentioned it last week.
Dang.
But I mean,
I mean, if nothing happened, it's all good. It's only a week.
Sometimes a lot happens.
Yeah.
And I don't. It's like
don't quite log it in.
It's all a blur.
I hear that. Very
well,
much
not a blur, but a weekend, a fast weekend, whatever.
So for me, nothing happened to me per se. It's more so something that I saw. You guys might have seen it as well there, but I really don't want to take the conversation to a grim place, but it was like and luckily this person is alive, but there was a cop incident of this army guy in uniform, which makes it even crazier. But this black Hispanic Afro whatever the term is, that's what he was according to the way it was documented. But anyway, so I guess he gets pulled over because he didn't have a plate on his you couldn't visibly see a plate on the back of his SUV or whatever. But I guess the car was newer, so he had the we call it the temporary plate in the windshield, not the windshield, but the back window. But because like SUVs, sometimes they'll have like a tint that comes on the car, like it's like so it's just naturally dark, so you couldn't really see it that well. So the cops, they pull him over for not having a plate, and then it gets to the point where they're pepper spraying them, and they're got their weapons aimed at him, and they're pulling him out the truck. It's like all they had to do was just talk to the dude, and he probably could explain. Look, it's I felt like the whole situation was just they escalated the situation that could have been solved in like 60 seconds of conversation.
Right.
But they wanted to get some action that night and be tough, and now they look stupid, So it's just stuff like that, and it makes me think of when I was in the military. It was like, like there's like an idea that if you're in the military, police will kind of like leave you alone, or they'll kind of like, kind of give you a break.
Grace. Yeah.
But it's like, and it's like, sure, if you look like them, and I'm not saying that they've never helped out somebody that wasn't white. I'm not saying that, but this was just a perfect example of that doesn't necessarily matter, because the dude literally was in a uniform, and they didn't even stop. Like, let's hear this guy out first, before we take it there. It was just like, nope, we're gonna take our guns out, pepper spray this dude, and like I said, luckily he's alive and he didn't get killed or anything. Yeah, I'm glad he filed a suit against that police department. And hopefully he wins it. But it just made me think of like what could have happened to me or somebody that I know, or friends that I have that are actively in the military that are black. So it just made me think about that. So.
Yeah. I don't have a follow up to that, but that's rough. Yeah. If I can offer, I know you want to keep it from being glib, but if I can offer an opposition, me being forthright to give people the opportunity to be vulnerable and honest. I run an emerging choreographer showcase for the company I dance for, and we're in the phase now where people who applied for it, they got past the first round, so the second round is an interview process. And the first thing I say to them when we get into this like Zoom interview is, be a person. I don't need it. This is an interview, quote unquote, but I don't need you putting on airs. I don't need you trying to find, the answer you think I want to hear. This is about us getting to see you as a person. So if you want to say shit, just say shit. It's okay. And it's always it's always refreshing to see their shoulders kind of drop. I've had times where a guy came with like a full button up and tie on, like he was about to get a corporate job. And I said that, and he was like, "Can I please take off this fucking tie?" And I was like, "Please," because it's making me uncomfortable. And so,
trying to be the CEO.
And so I love being able to give people that grace, because that what am I trying to say? That space for people to go, oh, I know how to do my work and I know how to communicate in a clear fashion does not necessarily mean I have to put on airs in order to appear like I'm exemplifying professionalism. So to be able to give people that grace to go like, hey, you can just talk. It's not that deep. It doesn't have to be that deep. I've seen your work so clearly, and you made it this far. So clearly you know how to produce work. I'm just here to make sure you aren't an asshole.
Yeah. I always think of like the interview process, or I used to think of that process of like, okay, they called me in, they just want to see if I'm a normal person. I feel like, that's but that's what I used to think. I mean, I got the job. I'm just going here and talk to this person. But during my job search, job search period, I guess you could say, I've learned that no, sometimes they literally are asking legitimate questions, because there's been plenty of interviews that I've gone on where I did not get a call back. So, but at the same time though, I still think that's cool though. Like, because like the job interview that I just had, like it's kind of like I didn't really know what to wear. I didn't wear a suit or anything, I just wore a collared shirt and some pants. But the guy that did the interview, he was wearing a hoodie and jeans. I'm like, oh, cool. So it made, just seeing that made me a little bit more relaxed. Just
absolutely.
Just he didn't even say anything. Just his appearance made me like, okay, he's
right.
Even though I had been talking to this guy for months at this point, but still,
absolutely. To be able to give people that grace to just be people, like to not feel like you got to show me a version of you, even though you're going to do that regardless, because I'm going to be asking you about your work and how you see your work evolving and what can I do to help you take your work to the next place that you want to take it. Sure, but we can just have that conversation as people. It's not necessarily a kickback. We're not sitting over drinks and all of that, but you could just talk. And so that was the space I wanted to get him. So let's hop into this first subject here. I think I brought this up on the podcast before. Even though we played sports and whatnot growing up, we were a part of probably the second resurgence, if you will, after the 80s with Revenge of the Nerds and whatnot. We were a bit nerdy for our grouping, for our generation, right? And we came up with the Lupes and the Pharrells and the Farnsworth Bentleys and the preppy era that became nerds and geeks and all of that kind of stuff. One, do you consider yourself a part of nerd culture? And two, do you think nerds are cool? Have nerds become the cool people on the block? I think I asked this question the way we wrote it down. What's your take on nerds and how have they been cool the whole time? Was the actual question.
Yeah, I think you broke it down pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, I'll kick it off. Well, as far as being like, the first question was, do you think that
do you consider yourself
participated
a part of,
in the nerd ecosystem? I guess I would say yeah, in a way. I guess we would kind of have to define it. I think we all got like a similar but maybe different definition of it.
I actually pulled that up because I remembered. I hope I still have it up. I remembered that what was it? It was an old Venn diagram, which I also may have brought up on the podcast before, where the four like words that are kind of interchangeable, but definitely do mean different things. And that is nerd, geek, dweeb, and dork. And how like how they could all like they can be colloquially used interchangeably, but they mean different stuff. And so we got a dork is a silly, out of touch person who tends to look odd or behave ridiculously around others. A nerd is socially awkward and an intelligent but single-minded person obsessed with a non-social hobby or pursuit. And a geek is a digital technology expert or enthusiast and or a person who has excessive enthusiasm for and some expertise about a specialized subject or activity. And dweeb is a wimp, a stupid or uninteresting person. So it's a little harsh, but
so nerd is similar to a geek in a way.
Essentially, I think they say nerds are socially awkward and they have a driven intelligence toward a single obsession. Usually, it's a non-social hobby or pursuit. But a geek can be an expert on digital technology or an enthusiast about it. And it's a person who is excessively enthusiastic or has excessive enthusiasm and or expertise for a specialized subject or activity. And so they're similar, but it's I've always personally it's a social aspect of it. I personally have always known myself to be more of a geek than a nerd because I don't think I'm that smart. I think I know about some stuff, but there's no particular thing of value that can like help other people. I know a lot about anime. I know a lot about music. I know a lot about dance, but it's
I don't think that necessarily has to be of value to other people, right?
Well, I mean, like, if we were talking about like nerds, I think Elon Musk is a nerd. I think Bill Gates could be considered a nerd. Albert Einstein is considered a nerd. I think Neil deGrasse Tyson is a nerd.
People who've had breakthroughs in a
particular field that have trickled down into a bunch of other stuff. But I always thought I was more of a geek because I know a lot about like comics or anime or stuff like that, which is like I have a knowledge of this stuff. There's nothing that I'm using it for.
Well, I don't think in that sense, I wasn't too much of a nerd, even though I have interests that I don't think I have anything that I like obsessively honestly, the closest thing would probably be sports. Like I know like a lot about basketball or football and some like just sports, but I think in a non-traditional sense of like the proper definition like we just gave or you just gave, like I don't think by that, maybe not, but in the like you kind of intro to it, like in the scope of like where we're from and how it was when we were growing up, I think that we kind of like definitely didn't or don't follow the like pattern or like outline that's been set up for us or whatever. So
right.
I think in that way, yeah, maybe nerd or geek, even though it wasn't none really technological about our upbringing. Besides the fact that I think I always bring this up, like we were like an important generation because we got to see like before internet and live in the internet before and now like deep into the internet.
Right.
I always think that like built the interest in type of people.
I think that we have an exposure to technology that's pretty distinct, like you just said.
Yeah.
Like I was 8 years old knowing how to defrag a computer.
Right. So I think that in that sense, we all have some technical thing that we were like, oh, I know how to burn a file to whatever it may have been. Like
Burn
I think
CDs.
Make an MP3 CD.
or burn an image file into a CD and all like stuff that why do I know that? Like, but I think it's at least one thing that all of us took a hold to
Right.
within that transition.
Adam, how about you?
Yeah. So, all right. So just to answer the question, like you said, do you think we were nerds? Was that the first question?
That was the first question.
Yeah. What was the second question?
The second question is, have nerds always been cool?
Oh, okay. Cool.
Hold on, let Adam hit that first question. Then we'll.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, to answer that first question, were we nerds? Like, I think that, and I'm speaking not based on like the definitions you gave, just just a general.
Yeah.
That's the generic, definition. But I would say in every culture or every like group, I feel like the definition of nerd is going to change, because I feel like if we were raised in some like small town in Indiana and we're white, I feel like their definition of nerd is going to be different than someone growing up in Gary in a predominantly black city. So by that statement, I'm going to say yeah, because I mean, let's just be honest. Like, if we just took 10 random people from Gary and our same age, same gender and all that, and we ask them what their interests are, my guess is that they're going to be slightly different than our interests. It's just, as far as our music taste, things we find funny. I mean, like, I remember back in, I don't know if it was high school or maybe right after high school, I did a very, very small experiment at work. And I was like, because not a lot of people to choose from, but it was almost right. It almost was accurate almost every time. And I was like, I would ask people, who would you like? Which rapper would you rather? Which rapper would you rather listen to, Jay-Z or Lil Wayne? And then I'll ask them, which comedian do you find funnier, Cat Williams or Dave Chappelle? And like 90% of the time, the people that chose Jay-Z chose Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle, right?
Chose Cat Williams, chose Lil Wayne. And it's almost like they're all four of them are black men, but it's like their art attracts just a different mindset for whatever reason. And I just thought that was super interesting. And I would just say the same thing. I feel like, and I'm not saying all of our interests are the same, and I'm not saying we don't have any interest in the next person, but it's just I think someone used the term alternative black people. So like I'll always look at Pharrell and NERD as like they made music as art. Not that everybody was black in that group, but obviously,
3 out of 4.
Yeah, I just feel like their audience were alternative black people, and I feel like we kind of fit in that group. It's like it doesn't make us look less black or anything, or more black. It's just everybody in a culture isn't the same thing,
right?
And within the black world, I would say we would be the nerds of that group, of that culture. Even though we might not obsess over one thing, like I mean, although you are a fan of comics and stuff, but I don't know that you're like obsessive about it and you have 500 comic books stashed under your bed.
Nope.
To that.
As far as like hardback, they probably all like right behind me.
Yeah.
But paperback rather. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do think for the culture that we grew up in, we were definitely nerds. Who did not, but I also think there was even funny enough, there was a there was another grouping of people that were even nerdier than us.
That's true. Yeah.
Where like, you know, they were deep into what would be, I guess, more stereotypically known as nerddom or geekdom. And so I think that we definitely had all those things going on, but we had the NERDs, and I definitely align with the alternative black person thing. At the same time, it's a contradiction because I think we are finally we're a part of a generation that finally stopped allowing the greater culture to acknowledge blackness as a monolith. And but that still happens within the black cultures that we grew up in. Like, I'll never forget, this may not be as specifically pertaining to the subject, but I remember me and Marcus were in Rentel's class, and we were arguing with our table. It was like me, you, Neil, Justin, Anthony, a couple other folks. And we were arguing about who was better between Lupe and Ludacris. And
that's disgraceful.
Of course, me and Marco were on the Lupe side of this, and pretty much the rest of the table was on the Ludacris side of it.
All respect to Lupe. I mean, Luda.
All respect to Ludacris. It's not Ludacris, but
that's not a debate right there.
And I remember,
but Marcus, I guess at the time I had time, as they say on the internet.
I remember Marcus being like, "Yo, anybody can say you can be as hard as a cinder block. There's nothing to that." But Lupe said you can be as hard as slang language with no fingers. How are we talking about this? How is this a conversation?
Or harder than trying to describe yellow to a blind, or somebody said something like that. Harder than trying to.
He was like sitting with a blind man and trying to describe yellow.
Yeah, something like
trying to describe yellow.
Yeah, that's genius.
Yeah. Come on, man.
And so
you just haven't heard it. You haven't heard enough. That's the only problem.
I bring that up because the conversation even turned into why is it that y'all love this music that's talking about the trap and being a pusher and all of that kind of stuff? And it's like nigga, you play the oboe. Like, what? Like, you're not pushing drugs. And the thing is, in real life, you can do both, but you don't. So there is that thing where I think we never particularly subscribed to what was going to be more aligned with what blackness was taken as, or what we're supposed to do as black dudes in Gary. We were just like, oh, we like what we like. Hence why I'll fight to tooth and nail argue that we were the best. We were some of the toppest trendsetters because we didn't do it to set a trend.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah,
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I'm forever gonna stand by the fact that I started the whole Chuck Taylor thing, because like I was wearing them like literally like 2 years before they blew up, and people were like joke after joke, just clowning me. Like, okay, we'll see. And 2 years later, it's like everybody had them.
And here's the thing, I don't know if this is on lost episodes, so hey audience, if you heard this back on like episode 12, yeah, you'll be all right. I'll never forget, we were in Zoomies because Zoomies was new out in Maryville, and and Mark walked in and Aaron shamed him out of the store. Shout out to that dude, wherever the fuck you are. But it was that thing of people always speak and listen those days, and I'm sure kids to a good degree still do this. They shame folks for being different. And then but it's mainly because that those people had the however conscious it was, bravery to be different, to just do what they actually cared about as opposed to trying to fit in.
Yeah.
And if you like the stuff that's popular, that's fine. But letting people be different is fine. And so as far as like nerds in the world today, what are your feelings about do nerds really run the world with the Elon Musk and the Bill Gates and like do you what is the old biblical verse? The meek shall inherit the earth. And I think I heard somebody say the geek shall inherit the earth.
That's funny. I mean, I think that's kind of always been the case. I think it's always been like, okay, like, the jock, this is kind of stereotype, but it's like, okay, the jocks are, the popular people, the cheerleaders are popular, and then, fast forward 10 years, they're all just average people. And then the people that got made fun of, they're the ones that are the engineers and the doctors, and they're the ones that are, and I'm not saying one's better than the other, but just like I feel like that's kind of how, at least in Hollywood, that's how they portray that.
That's how they portray it, right?
that thing to work. But I just think, but no, I think being nerdy or a geek, I think it is cool, and it's to the point where you can be a gamer today and stream on Twitch and YouTube and make money from it. And especially if
Right.
you happen to be a woman that's attractive, because if you're like a 19, 20-year-old male, and you're like, oh man, I follow this chick and she's a gamer and she's attractive and she plays the same thing as me, they're like, oh, this is amusing, because for decades gaming and women didn't necessarily go together. But now we live in an age where that's actually pretty common. It's it's the norm almost.
Right.
So I
Because
think
Adriana Chechik has a Twitch channel and it is wildly successful. In case you don't know who that is a very famous porn star who is a little problematic with the whole taboo of black guy thing, but she's just a very famous porn star, and she has a Twitch channel that is very successful.
Is it like gaming or?
Yeah, Twitch is all gaming for the most part.
Oh, okay. I knew that was mainly, but I've started seeing people streaming on Twitch doing other stuff. So what?
Yeah, because
Timberland is on Twitch.
Right. A lot of musicians will also use Twitch to do live shows and stuff. Yeah. But it's mostly gaming. Some live shows. Some people will do like curated shows where they have people send in materials, so video projects that are done and whatnot, and they'll stream that specifically during a time. So yeah, a bunch of stuff that happens.
I was playing 2K, and I don't know about when they draft and do all that type of stuff, but they apparently there are like female top 2K players, and I never saw that before. Like it's just dope to see that, not that they didn't in the past, but just to see how not even accepted, just actually how women are like starting to be, or are definitely being more represented in every like niche type culture, is pretty dope. Because like, I don't know, I honestly don't understand how we like built this, like only a man can do certain things, like especially like that, like that's not a physical like
you
know what I'm saying?
It's not, but
like, women are
ain't
technical
gatekeeping
too. Like,
yeah, my bad.
That's all. Go ahead.
No, people.
I was just saying. Yeah, I don't want to repeat it. I don't know if I just was saying women are technical too. So
absolutely, and I don't doubt that women gamers have always existed. I think that people kind of suck with gatekeeping. Most of the time, gatekeeping happens with men. where they're like, oh, you say you do this thing, well, let me hit you with some absurdity to prove that I'm better than you or in some capacity or some shit, or just stupid racist bullshit where you see like I said, like we all know, I'm very into anime and all of that, where now when we were growing up, anime was shunned unless it was Dragon Ball Z. And if you said you were in anime, you got clowned or some shit. And now all the kids are fucking about it. But I say all that to say, like, cosplaying has become a big thing, or social media wise, cosplay has become a big thing, and people go out of their way to go on Black cosplayers pages, especially Black women, and be like, "Hey, you're black washing that character," and most of the time it's white people.
Yeah, like this is a Japanese person more than likely has created this. So what are you talking about?
And it's a fictional character. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
But white people, white other pages will go on Black cosplayers page and be like, hey, that the character isn't Black, but they don't do any of that shit to white people who do the same shit.
Yeah,
I think they just mad because they see that Black people are nerds too.
But it's
like
always
why are you mad that that Black people have multiple interests?
Yeah.
It's always some wild shit.
Yeah.
What are you about to say, Adam?
No, I was gonna say, like, it seems like everybody wants, not everybody, it's like they want things to themselves. It's like, we want to have this culture, even though we didn't create it, but we want it to ourselves. And it's like almost like they see a Black person doing it and doing it very well. They just get like threatened by that, or I don't know. It's and you see that in a lot of things, whether it's racial or gender based. Because I know I follow there's a female photographer that I follow, and she's always she's pretty big. Like she'll screenshot and post stuff of like things that guys had said, like sexist things, like male photographers are better, or blah 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 blah. It's just unnecessary. And this is something that I've realized over the years from like following various photographers, and whether it be like on YouTube or Instagram, whatever. Male photographers, and this is obviously is a very general statement. I've never met every male photographer, but based on just the male photographers that I follow, are very technical based. Like everything is based on, this is technically right. This is the right specifications for this. This is it's all very
by
equipment
the book.
And but most of the female photographers that I follow, they don't care about this stuff. They're just like, let's just make the art. However you get to that final point, that's all that matters. And it's so interesting seeing those two different worlds. It's just I don't know what that means, or I haven't analyzed it any deeper, but it's just interesting that
it's interesting.
The women photographers seem to be like just about the art. The guys I'm not saying they're not about the art, but it's like almost like they're trying to impress people with their technical knowledge and the gear. It's all about gear, like what equipment you have.
I was about to say that,
about that,
yeah.
Whenever I like dip into photography stuff, like forums, like and it's like that with with computers. Like I built my computer or whatever, and people will have like, oh, this system is a blah blah blah, like all the technical specs and all. Like I understand, like that's cool, and like that you're proud of that because you spent money and time on it, and it works to your liking. So but it's like the results that really matter. But if that when you really into something that deep, it make you feel good to compare with others and stuff. So I do get it,
but I feel like it's that same shit where like speaking in old school terms, if you had a fly outfit on and you didn't spend that much on it, motherfuckers be like, yeah, man, but my belt costs more than your life. And you're like, that's why you proud of that?
That's your fault. No, that's true.
And it may not even look that cool, honestly.
Right.
That's what kills me in today's fashion, even more so than the past, is people will buy these hideous shoes, but because such and such designed them or made them, they're cool. I'm like,
Balenciagas.
exactly. Like,
I'm talking about them sock shoes.
I mean,
Oh,
yeah. Well, they make those, but just shoes in general. Like, I saw somebody at Myers the other day with some. I think they were like Dolce and
Dolce and Gabbana.
yeah, and they were absolutely hideous, but because they had like the logo and stuff all over them, it's like they're supposed to be cool. But I mean, they were like, and he probably spent like $700 on these shoes or more even. I'm like, it's like, and I guarantee you, if that logo was, if it said, I don't know, New Balance, or not that New Balance will make cool shoes. I actually like New Balance, but if it was just like a not that brand, like Under Armour, would you have spent? Would you have spent $1,000 on Skechers?
Buttons.
Truth be told, like
Pro Wings,
Skechers, honestly, hey, I think Skechers really like broke the ground on a lot of these top designer shoes with the thick soles.
Oh yeah,
like y'all know the girl Skechers shoes.
You talking about the ones with like the bend on them, or are you talking about like the ones with just thicker sole?
all of their shoes 10 years ago or 12, 15 years ago.
Okay. Can we detour for a second? And I'm saying this personally because it's a gripe I have as a man with a size 14 foot. Fuck shoe companies that stop at like 12. And two, even if you stop at 13. And two, why are most shoes fucking hideous these days? What the fuck happened to shoes? Sneakers are fucking horrible.
Yep.
Am I the only one that feels this? That
no, there's a lot of bad. There's a lot of.
You're right.
I think they go too crazy with the colorways. First of all, like it's just like,
or the sole designs. Like the soles just sitting up here looking like what's that, tumbleweeds and shit. And I don't get it.
I think the idea is like, I guess because shoes, sneakers, whatever you want to call them, have been around for so long, they've run out of ideas. So they're like, okay, we just gotta.
I can't go with that, man.
We just gotta go as crazy as we can now. Cause like, and they think that something being outrageous is cool. So I was like, just throw this out there, and sure enough, people line up to buy them. It's like
there's a lot more designs to go in shoes. It's too many parts that, to me, I just think it's too many parts of the shoe. Like, come on, they need to stop making like hybrids of shoes. Like, okay, let's just take this old one and then this old one and mix it up, like stuff like that. Just make a new shoe.
Yeah.
But I think another thing is they get carried away with the technology aspect now. Like, it just makes them look like, oh, we have this new technology, but the shoe just look kind of ugly. But anyway. Like Skechers like made the new like fashion shoe pretty much, and then all them big brands ran with it. I feel like
I don't know if y'all talked about it, but since we're talking about shoes, did y'all talk about the Lil Nas X situation? I know this is going to be like way after the fact, and by the time this comes out, no one's really going to give a fuck anymore. And I don't know why they give a fuck in the first place.
They still talking about it because it brought in like some like, hey,
baby.
I think it brought like a religious aspect into it. Like now is
hi. What's up?
So and I know that I think the marketing strategy of it was genius in the sense of, you know, he knew he was gonna rile feathers, and hate will get you more plays than love will a lot of times. At the same time, I'm like, why the fuck do y'all care? I really don't get why y'all care.
Because it's gay.
But even with the shoes though.
Yeah,
like,
but can we agree at this point like he's kind of a troll?
Oh, not kind of. He's a major troll.
Okay, like I just want to make sure we all know that.
Yes, that the whole release of this was being a troll. The point of the song is being a troll.
Yeah.
He's like this is not a new perspective, but I'm like him putting out a video where he's getting devil lap dance and all that kind of stuff. It's like, yo, y'all spent all this time telling gay folks they go into hell. He shows you a video of a gay man going to hell, and you're like, no, you shouldn't do that. And you're like, this, you're contradicting yourselves.
That's funny.
But and even them being like, well, man, your main audience is kids, and it's like, my dude never made songs for kids. That song that y'all kept playing for your kids also talks about Molly and titties, and so
yeah, I mean, I don't know what people really expect. I mean, we've seen this before. Like artists have this certain image and they appeal to a young audience, and then once now they doing what they want to do, and nobody gonna stop them. And kind of like he said, like the parents have an obligation or whatever to make these decisions. If you're gonna allow your kids to listen to that, that's on you. The same as any music. But you did come out, like you came out with the big bang and kind of appealed to, like, they gotta stop acting like they don't appeal to young audiences though.
Nah, man, I can't give you that.
No. I'm talking about when they come out. You know what I'm saying?
But
like
the song just happened to be popular with kids. I don't think he made it for.
I
don't think he made it for kids.
Yes, you did.
He's talking about lean and
that's what I was like. That like he did not make the song for kids.
Have you seen the kids awards lately? Like what they put on there?
I mean,
like
that's on Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon just gonna do is gonna get the ratings.
So you don't think
have to do with Lil Nas.
So you think Nickelodeon appeals to the audience that they want, right? You don't think the music industry does?
I think Nickelodeon appeals to the audience they can get.
You gotta be naive to think that the music industry you don't think he started. Okay, he wasn't talking to, like, what generation do you think that like his music was appealing to? Like you personally?
I don't know that he actually had a demographic. I think my man went, oh, let's try to make a funny country song, and then it happened to blow up.
Yeah.
I think
at his
knew
root,
that song was going to do that.
He was trolling the country music industry.
Yes, and then he got Billy Ray Cyrus to get in on it, so white audiences could actually accept it. Like I think my man tried to be Weird Al, and then he ended up being a fucking superstar.
I think even though I agree with what he's saying, it's like his he didn't put the crazy stuff in his music like on blast, you know what I'm saying? He just kind of snuck it in, like lean all in my bladder. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Did he sneak it in? It's in the same cadence as the rest of the song. I don't know that he snuck it in.
It's like
it wasn't like he was like, and I'm loving on a girl and fuck those fucking kids. And no. Like
honestly,
like,
it's to do with production of the song. Like it I just think it definitely appeals to the youth. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not saying it.
If you look at the music video, it's kids on there in the first scene. You know what I'm saying? It's kids dancing. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know that
so
matters.
the next song, you don't think kids are gonna watch? You know what I'm saying?
It's saying if kids go running,
Lil Nas dropping.
I'm saying if kids run into a scene in a Young Jeezy video as he goes and throws a crack pipe in somebody's hand, they're not like, oh, this song is for kids because kids are present. like it doesn't matter. The existence of kids does not mean that's the audience.
I don't think it's a singular one like a cameo of a kid. Like
Okay.
it's centered around youth.
All right. So I don't think the song is for kids. I do get what I sonically, sure. You could say I can hear why kids would like it. It's catchy. This is my thing. It's like, okay, say that the song was made for, even though it wasn't, but say that it was made for kids. Like that still doesn't mean that everything he makes is like should be consumed by kids. Because I think about when Nas made that song "I Can," we was like, I know I can. That song had kids in it, but Nas isn't making music for kids. Now I might. It's funny that they're both are some version of Nas, but I don't know. It's just like
Collaborators.
I just think that I'm not a parent, so I think maybe when I have kids, maybe my mindset will change on this. But it's like hip hop is not a kid genre. It's just, I don't as overall as a genre. It's just not for kids. And you can say, well, that's not a hip hop song.
Hold on, like you saying. So let's talk about hip hop's influence on every music. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
It's hip hop in all music now. It's not even like all music is trying to be hip hop now. It's like
I agree.
So the popular music in kids shows are hip hop vibes to it. Like I watch them. It's like so that's what's really important in music and marketing right now, or maybe just always been, is whatever the kids like jump on. Like there hasn't been a kid's birthday party in the last since that song came out that was not played 2 times at least.
I'm with you. I was at my it was the first, it was what was it? My goddaughter's twin younger siblings were turning 1. They played Old Town Road. Kids went fucking wild. But here's the thing. Like
That just sounds funny.
That's what I'm saying. Most of the kids here are 7 and under, and the toddlers are like this. They don't even know what's going on, and you just hear all the kids. They got the horses in the back, like they're all losing their fucking minds over this goddamn song. Here's the thing: by the time it gets to the old part of the lyrics, none of them know the words anymore. They're just waiting for that chorus to come back because he made a catchy song. And here's the thing I could even say toward this, and it could be apples and oranges, but whatever. We grew up singing crazy shit.
Hey, shout out to DMX for that too.
The wild shit we would say to DMX lyrics. We would sing Kim on the bus going home.
Yeah.
Just yelling after we would sit down, bitch, you move again, I'll beat the shit. Like we would sing wild shit. None of us grew up to be fucking murderers. None of us grew up to do any of those things. People keep on acting, not saying none of us. Some of us did grow up to be murderers. But I don't think it was the music's fault. I was like, okay, I'm going to retract that statement. Some of us have become murderers. Dang. That is very true. But I'm saying, like, we grew up playing, I personally, as a person who is not a parent and whatever, am sick of people try to blame other outside sources for why their kids may have grown up fucked up. We grew up playing Grand Theft Auto, and most of us have not stolen a car. We grew up like doing all of this shit that could be considered dangerous for developing minds, and we all had good parenting, good environments. We all grew up with killers in real time. Me, Marcus, we were at Katie King with motherfuckers who were like, "Oh, I shot a nigga yesterday," but
it was tough. It was
but nothing went oh, well, now that I'm amongst killers, guess I got to be a part of the crowd. Somebody hand me a Glock. No, you go, all right, me and my Pokemon cards gonna stay over here and try to stay out of your way, sir. It's like figure out what the fuck your lane is, and you stay there. So I don't know. Go ahead.
It all just come down to like everybody gonna be exposed to everything. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's just about like being prepared before you see that stuff, or some kids honestly never saw those images, and not that all that devil stuff and like people super sensitive about that stuff. So that's why he did it.
Of course.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's kids who never seen that type of imagery and don't know anything about that stuff, and is a little spooky or whatever. But
I would argue no one's seen that kind of imagery. Because one,
well, I mean, if
that
is
I ain't never seen a stripper pole that long.
I mean,
that pole was absurd.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, whatever.
Yeah,
it's crazy, but I forgot what I was even saying.
My bad.
Yeah, it's just up to the parents to prepare the kids for what they consume or might consume, and just have that communication.
Right.
And like us, if we, you don't want to introduce that type of stuff to your kids, you just, put away with it.
And the fact is, kind of like what Josh was saying, because I know in my household, I wasn't allowed to watch certain things, hear certain music, but I did anyway. So it's like, but it's like,
if that's your interest, then you're probably gonna,
you're gonna find a way.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, though, kids are impressionable. They still aren't stupid. Right. I don't think a kid's gonna watch that video and be like, I need somebody to get me Satan's number so I can go and dance on this guy, because clearly this is what I need to be doing. Like I think if anything, if kids see that video, it's probably gonna scare them. Honestly, I don't think it's gonna be like, I want to do this. It's probably gonna, like you say, it's probably spooky to them to see that type of imagery. So, and then I saw somebody say that, well, if this video is going to turn kids gay, can't we just watch WAP and then turn them back straight? If it's apparently this is how it works.
People are yeah.
And like I said, I honestly believe that if he wasn't gay, I'm not saying it wouldn't have caused controversy, because it probably would have. But say he wasn't dancing on the devil, or say he was just hanging out, say they were just smoking a drink together, it would still got controversy, but I feel like it would have been a lot less.
It would have.
Yeah, I mean, people use that stuff in popular culture, but they just kind of water it down a little bit,
Yeah,
and it's cool, if he's smiling and, like he said, just hanging out. Yeah. It's just I believe that people just trying to push the envelope in art now, and we've seen a lot, and it's just like, we got, I guess if it's a troll doing it, it's gonna be extreme stuff. He's trying to push the boundaries and stuff like that. So,
so with pushing boundaries, and even go back to our nerd conversation, or being ostracized, or what have you. Luckily, we had enough. We had strong enough foundations that inside of our slight othering from the more popular common people and whatnot, I experienced bullying. I don't know to what degree y'all may or may not have. Y'all were present for most of my bullying. Shout out to all of those motherfuckers. But luckily it never escalated into another thing. And so I bring that up because our main topic today is going to be guns, right? I never had a close proximity to guns. I maybe held a gun twice in my life. Adam, I know you in armed forces, so I'm sure you got them things on you at most times. And yeah, I thought about getting my gun license and all of that kind of stuff now in today's current age and whatnot, because motherfuckers are wilding a little more than usual. But I bring that up because guns have always been a controversial subject. I do think revolutionaries to some degree need to have gun knowledge, even if you don't necessarily want to be a part of it. But what are your feelings on the subject of guns? What's in your arsenal if you got them? That might not be necessary to let people know that. But yeah. What's your thoughts and feelings on it?
Well, let me start by saying this real quick. So I was in the military. I was in the Air Force, but I didn't like the only time we carried guns is when we were like in like what's the word they use? Like if we were in like a deployed location. So like if I was in Afghanistan, then yeah, we carried guns. But like if I'm just at my home station in South Carolina, we didn't carry anything. Like the only people that was like actively carrying was like if you were like a cop, or like yeah, pretty much that. Those are the only people that had a gun on them at all times were what they called in the Air Force security forces, which is literally the same thing as military police. They just tried to make the word fancy. But I just want to say that because I want people to think I'm like some Navy SEAL or something. I don't know, just a mechanic.
SEAL Team 6.
Yeah, more likely to hit you with a wrench than actually shoot you. But
you ready if somebody running up.
Yeah. But
one of them ops run up.
But I would say like in my current civilian life, I know there's this huge talk about like AR-15s and those the military style rifles, and personally I'm one of those people that I don't see why everyday people need them, because like they were literally made to kill people. That's what they were designed to do.
Right.
Kill people at a good distance, like like I think like 600 yards is like their furthest range, which is pretty far away.
Yeah,
like their effective range is about 600 yards. So I just don't see why a everyday person needs to be walking around with something like that. Like, and if you're talking about, well, I want to be able to protect myself and defend myself, if you can't do that with a shotgun or a handgun, or and like what situations do you think you're going to find yourself in where like you need the same weapons that a Navy SEAL would use?
right.
'Cause that's what they use.
Well, a lot of people who have a lot of those type of weaponry really do think like there's going to be a time where they're going to come and try to take their guns, or it's going to be some large event or something,
which is always proven to not be true.
Yeah.
How do you even still believe that rhetoric after all this time?
Honestly, believe they think about a civil war again. Civil war.
Honestly, I think they want that to happen just for them to get a chance to use their weapons. And I like, in my mindset is even in the military and police force, this should be your mindset. Maybe it's not for some people, but you should never want to shoot and kill somebody. Like if you go into it like, I want to do this, I want to join this organization to kill someone, you are mentally ill. Like that's not normal. Like if you're a cop and you kill somebody and you just feel okay after the fact and you're like, oh, I'm good, something's wrong with you. It's like that's not the normal. Even if you're defending yourself and you kill somebody, that's a huge thing. And you should still feel like, man, I just took somebody's life. But there's people who want to do that, like before they even buy a gun, like, I'm buying this gun so I can kill somebody if I need to. It's like I feel like that's the wrong mindset going into it.
Right.
I definitely believe that um, gun rights are important,
Sure.
just uh, just on the basis of you know protecting. It's like it's a touchy subject because I think of like how we devote so much money to defense in our country. You know, military weaponry and defense developing research research and development, I guess they say. And it's like I guess that's very important to let people know like we have the best well, not even I won't even say the best, but we focus heavily on that aspect. So um we gotta keep people scared enough that they won't try us or and they use that to kind of justify why we spend so much money on that and blah blah blah. And I think we do have to be strong in that because we are a target. And I'm speaking like as a country right now, but I think it kind of applies to like the micro level, like with us too. Like how much money are we gonna spend on in just time and attention to defense, like and but I do think that we should have firearms just to, like I said, defend our family, ourselves. But as far as like big events happening, uh, I just don't feel like is enough of unless it's some like clear like time where we're gonna have to be going to a group and organize like a militia, which I don't think. Yeah, I just don't see that happening in the near future. But I don't know. I think it is important to kind of defend your house and where you dwell. Keep
Hmm.
the peace, keep that peacemaker.
I'm with it. I'm with it. Yeah. I don't know that I have too many feelings that are different from y'all's on the subject as far as I don't get the reason to ever own as a regular citizen an automatic weapon. That makes no sense to me. Or even semi-automatic, to be completely honest. Uh I think handguns and shotguns are all you would really need in a domestic situation. Uh I think that regulation should be more necessary. I do think everyone should have gun training personally.
Yeah, that's the big one.
I think if that was just as unnecessary as it may seem, I wouldn't necessarily be against. I'm not advocating for it, but I would be against if like how driving school is if gun training was in a similar situation. Just so you know, just so like that's a common thing for you to know. Even though
Yeah.
I know that everybody in this country doesn't drive, especially live in bigger metropolitan areas, but to have access to that kind of training should just be that simple.
Yeah. I, I would even dare I even say just I would even change the word to gun safety because there's
Yeah.
people that which is you could say the same thing, but the reason I want to emphasize that is like I think everyone should know how to handle it. I'm not even saying shoot it, just like properly just pick up a gun and take it to the next room. Some people could screw that up and shoot themselves. Like
Hmm.
so I mean just legitimately hand it before you even pull the trigger, just make sure it's empty. Like how do you take the magazine out? How do you check to see if there's any
In the
bullets
chamber.
in it?
Yeah.
It's like there's just that alone. I think even if people learn that much,
Yeah,
that,
that's
that's a step in the
man.
right direction.
That's what I don't I don't like about like the places that say okay, no guns. Like you're really not going to stop people from going to protect themselves.
Yeah.
People going to get guns whether you say you can have them here or not. So if people like Adam was saying, people who don't have knowledge of guns at all go get them, you know, to protect their family. Now they probably have a lower chance of knowing gun safety. So, you know, on the news when we keep hearing like 4-year-olds or 3-year-olds, just little kids somehow getting the guns and shooting them.
Yep.
How is that happening in your household? Like
Yeah.
you being reckless and you not taking it serious. And that's definitely like a lack of understanding or safety about it. So I think that stop telling people or whatever areas, like just have gun safety more prominent at least.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's people in the world that, not in the world, there's people in this country though that, like, I've seen clips online where there's a father teaching his son or daughter, you know, showing him some gun stuff, and the video circulate, and like half of the comments are, or half of the reactions are the angry reaction because people are mad about that. Was like, there's nothing wrong with teaching someone how to properly use something. Like, he's not
No.
saying the video isn't the father saying, "All right, I'm teaching you this so you can go and shoot up a Walmart." That's not. It's like not. So like people confuse gun safety with, like, people just don't want guns at all. It's like, I wish we lived in a country where we didn't have to have them. Like,
That's not realistic.
yeah, it's not realistic for us. Like, because
Not
like
for
I
not
remember,
for the States, yeah.
yeah, and it's unfortunate because I remember when I was in Korea, and it's like, man, like I can exist, I can walk down the street at 3 o'clock in the morning, and if I don't know anything else, I know that nobody's gonna come and put a gun in my face. I know that's not gonna happen. It's just
Mm.
that it's a 0% chance that that's gonna happen. Um, unless it's a cop, and even most of the cops don't carry guns over there either.
Mm.
Um, it would be cool if you did live in a society like that, but we don't. So it is what it is. You know, we gotta figure out
I,
how to
I
exist in
think
that.
I think to in order to reverse that at this point, it'll be a big like it's gonna be it would be a big issue. And
It'd be
for the
impossible.
people, yeah, and for the people who believe like they should do away with all the guns, like okay, you say that, but just think just think of the steps that they will have to go through to do that. Do
Yeah.
you really want the military to come to your house and then not to your house, just everybody's house, and confront them to hand their guns over, and then the the Constitution is involved, people doing that, people fighting back, people
And the other
just to roll out that thing where
A
to
lot of
come
people would
and get you.
die.
Like
a lot of people would die.
it's not gonna
And
happen.
exactly how would you exactly make that happen?
Yeah, it's
Like
more
like
guns in the country than people.
that sounds like you would have to impose it would be a
It'll,
major imposition on every
it'll
single
be a
person.
martial law situation.
It
It'll be
would
a
have to
martial.
be. Because what you relying on just confiscating people who have registered their guns, then what are you going to do about all the ones that aren't? And
Exactly.
if you're going to all of these places being like, do you own any guns? And people just say no, you really think police gonna be out here and believe them, especially in black and brown communities? No. Like it, so that means people gonna have to, get their houses literally searched and all of that kind of shit. And it's no way to actually do that in a moral way.
Yeah. Yeah, I've always said, and this is controversial, but I've always said that the Second Amendment is screwed this country because I get why it existed initially. You know, when they wrote it in whatever year that was, hundreds of years ago. You know,
Mhm.
it was so people could arm themselves and to be able to fight and protect themselves against British people. You know, it was like, okay, arm yourself for protection because it's getting crazy over here. um, but I would say probably like
Also
50.
for killing the people who was already here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And but on the other side, guns were also different at the time. You had your
Oh,
gun
yeah.
could shoot
Yeah.
once.
Yeah, now it's
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I would say probably like 50 years after they wrote the Second Amendment, they could have like, okay, we don't need this anymore. But,
Mhm.
we're under the impression, and I kind of get it, we're under the impression that once an amendment or a law is wrote or takes place, that we can't undo it. And
Which
it's
is
like,
but it
I get that.
happens all the no, but it
Yeah.
happens all the time though.
Yeah.
Why do
It just take a
why do
long
people
time.
like why do people act like laws don't constantly change or evolve? But then you go to the Constitution written some odd 300-400 years ago, and I'm like, why the fuck are we still listening to this? The world is fucking different.
Yeah. Like I don't think when they wrote that, I don't think they ever imagined that there would be a gun that I mean, like the technology in guns today is mind blowing. Like there's
Right.
guns that now, okay, so there's I can't even get the words out. So there's guns that if it's an automatic weapon, which those are very rare, actually, like it's very hard to get a license to get an automatic weapon. There's all types of stuff you have to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Now the AR-15 that you see, those aren't automatic, but they pretty much fire as fast as you can pull the trigger. So
Right.
And people make slight alterations. It's
correct.
probably pretty easy to do
Yeah.
and make them automatic anyway.
Exactly. So there's this thing called a bump stock that you can put on there, where it's essentially you're making it an automatic weapon. But regardless of that, like when they wrote the Second Amendment, they had no idea that there was going to be guns that you could. There's guns out there you could shoot somebody from a mile away. I mean, if you're good enough, of course.
Right.
Just having the technology to do that, or like guns where like a gun that you can fit in your pocket, but it can fit 16 rounds in it. Like no one thought that would ever
Exists. Right.
exist. So I think laws have to change with the times, like most laws do. Like
Right.
Yeah.
slavery ending, they changed with the times.
Eh,
Even though it's still
ending
kinda
isn't
exists.
like ending isn't true. But
Yeah.
yeah. And that's the thing I don't get. Or even people just being like, that considering laws infallible when most of the time they completely are fallible and do not serve the majority, rather less everyone.
Yeah.
And so yeah, like I don't know. It's never really made sense to me.
I'm gonna say this real quick though.
Yeah,
Before
sure.
we one observation that I've made, and this can be a completely false observation, but just in my bubble, I guess, is so many people that are for the Second Amendment. And when I say for, because we're all for the Second Amendment technically, but I'm talking about the people that's got Second Amendment stickers on their truck, that owns 20 guns, that has those are the Second Amendment people I'm talking about here. Those people are from my view, seems like they're the same people that are so against those left wing liberal protesters. Like when somebody when a black person gets shot and people are out protesting, it feels like those are the same people that are against other people exercising their First Amendment right, yet they're so adamant about their Second Amendment right. So it just feels like they're all about all of these rights when they have the opportunity to exercise them. But it feels like when other people exercise those rights, then there's a problem. Like I feel like maybe I'm wrong about this, but I feel like if there was just a mass amount of black people, just like a huge uptick of black people starting to get weapons and getting their concealed licenses, and we started just marching around with guns, just unnecessarily screaming out crazy stuff. I feel like that would rub people the wrong way, even people that are for guns. But and like I said, this is just in my mind. Maybe I'm completely wrong on this.
No, here's the thing. I'm
Nah.
not to interrupt you. You're not wrong
done.
because that's how the gun laws in California changed with the Black Panthers doing that.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah.
You're not wrong whatsoever. Is that the laws most of the time, especially in the states, are only fought for by the European descendant majority because it works for them. Especially those first two amendments. The Second Amendment don't mean shit to non-white people. Because
But
then
you know what's crazy?
go ahead.
Like on another note, like just on a broader like scale, whenever the people or black people, whoever's not, white people or in control or whatever, start to take back, like say, remember the recent the stock market thing with GameStop and
Yeah,
you know that's not a black people thing, but
that's a
I
poor.
mean
That's a wealth thing. Yeah.
right. So when the people start to take back their power in a way, they figure a way out like, oh, we gotta figure a way to keep the hold on
Right.
keep the
Right.
stronghold on this segment. You know, is we see that all the time, and especially when they see black people advancing in any type of field or way, is like, oh no, we gotta we
Like
gotta
voting
remain
rights.
remain yeah yeah we
Mhm.
gotta remain in control of this field.
You see how many voter suppression laws and whatnot they started to pass in Georgia
Yeah.
after this last.
Not just Georgia, it was all over the country.
Mm.
It's like I don't want to make up a number, but a lot of states, and it wasn't just Georgia. It was Georgia led the charge, of course,
Right.
but it was a lot of states that passed. I think someone said it was like 243 laws that passed that week across the
Also,
country.
there's a lot of laws being changed about you know prison and jail stuff, like
Mm.
inhumane things and sentencing. Those laws are starting to change more often, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
If they change it for the better, yeah.
Yeah.
Word. Well, we're not legislators and we can't change any of this. Hopefully, if you are doing your local voting and making sure that you put people in office that can help, or at least say they will, we'll see what happens on the other end of it. But thank you for joining us for another episode of the InforMILLy Honest podcast. In case you want to write in, if you have any opinions or perspectives, etc., about anything that we talked about, then write us at informally.honestpodcast@gmail.com. You should know how to spell it because you came here and you're listening to the podcast. But just in case, that's inform, ILLY, honest podcast @gmail.com. InforMILLy Honest Podcast on Facebook, InforMILLy Honest on Instagram, and InforMILLy_HP on Twitter. We love y'all. We appreciate you, fellas. Any last things?
Yeah. So are you going?
No.
I'll wait. All right. So I do have one last thing. So about that voting thing, I want to say this. Like, okay, so I know they're passing all these laws to make stuff harder. So, I'm not saying this message is gonna get out to 30 million people or anything, but for the people that do hear it, like
Mhm.
I would just really advise you to know what is changing in your area, because though they're making it harder, that doesn't mean it's impossible. So just whatever they're changing, just make sure you're up to date on that, and then so you can still go out there and do what you got to do.
Make a
'Cause they're
difference,
making
right?
they're making it harder, but they're not making it impossible. That's unfortunate, but I mean, if they're gonna play games,
Gotta learn
you
the
gotta,
game.
yeah. So that's all I got.
Brilliant wisdom. Marco.
Peace out, y'all.
Word, okay.
That's about it.
Any conversation, any connection that you have and make, we ask and encourage you to make sure that at the root of all interactions that you engage in, that you be forthright, vulnerable, and most of all, honest. Peace.
What's up?
Rest in peace, DMX.
RP to the X.
I was about to tell a long.
Can't look in the eyes of my brother without shedding a tear for my brother. I really wanna try for my brother, 'cause I truly do feel for my brother.